How you doing? This is Coco Harin with TakeAKnee.com. We're going to do a little tack session here on 11 personnel and how does our 5-step personnel base foundation, how does it happen? How do we recognize the strength, the back sets, the movement, option, and when they empty it up, how do we get into a 0 personnel group? And the call that's going to be made is going to be a base call. We're going to set the strength to the tight end. We're going to put the 3 technique over there. And the coverage call is going to be play it. It's a form of cover 4, but we don't know where their splits are, so we give the kids some split rules. So that's our SRs. In this case, because it's a twin set, we play Sally concept over there. On the TakeAKnee.com webpage, you're going to be able to look up Sally, hit this. Matter of fact, when you do hit it, you're going to be able to hit it as a hyperlink. It'll take you right to the page and tell you how Sally's completely ran there.
Perfect.
In that same page, you're going to be able to go, because the splits are real wide, we call it a dash split, which is a true cover 4. When we look at cover 4, in cover 4, you're giving up an area out there, and for us, we're saying in cover 4, you give up an area right about here. And that's that quick looking area, and in this case, we're going to let the quarterback get it, so he's going to get that ball, and it's going to get out there real quick, and we're going to gather and make a football play. And then what happens if he gets into a 5-step drop, then cover 4 is exactly the right coverage that we want to be in out there.
Yep.
So what we say is that we're going to be in a dash call, and dash means if that tight end was just to take himself outside, this Sam backer's going to dash with him. And he's going to be able to run that thing down. And why do you call it dash? Why do we call it dash? Here's the reason why I call it dash. I was just watching a movie a few years ago called The Incredibles, and the little son name is Dash.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said, Dad, how come I can't play football? I'm faster than everybody out there. How come I can't run track? I'm the fastest guy out there. Well, how fast is he? His dad will throw the ball the length of a football field because they're incredible. And Dash would go there and catch it and bring it back before anybody even see him catch it. So he dashed us. So I figured if I could get our guys to get to that area as fast as they can, I had to come up with a term that was extremely triggered them to go as fast as they can, and everybody knew who Dash was because we're in that era. So when I say Dash, they go,
Right.
oh, I've seen that.
That makes
so
sense.
They understand what we meant by Dash. So we get to read number 2, and there's a cover 4 that gets out of there. And over here we play a little Sally concept where we get that out here. And if that guy is releasing there or he's releasing here, we outdo it, which means the corner will jump it, the safety will look for 1, that backer will look for 1 coming into him. So we get a Sally concept that plays out of it. Wherever this back releases on his drop or on the thing, that Mike will get invited that way to create a 4-on-3 gig over there. If that back was a drop here, we'll get a 4-on-3 gig over here. But like I mentioned earlier, in 11 personnel, we got a pro side, we got a twin side, so that's why we call it play. We just don't know how the splits are going to be.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why we came up with the concepts of the split rules is just because of the RPOs that are going around.
Yeah.
So the wider the splits, so we'll be able to play. If he got a little wider, we can even give a crash call in here. That way he doesn't have to worry about getting into that B gap, when he can widen out and play a little bit more on that. So there's some things that be able to help move bodies. So that's why the landmarks are really important for us in our gig and what we do. A couple things that we have to recognize is where we're going to put the strength. On the tight end side, we're going to put the strength. So that's that 3 technique. So we're just making sure that we get the 3 technique right where it needs to be. And now, you look at the dot formation where the back is. For us, all we want to do is recognize what are the threats on his run game to our Sam backer, what's his threats to the run game and the inside game of the Mike, and what's the threat to the Will backer out there. Once you recognize those threats, that's exactly our key reason we're going to work through, our condition eyes are going to work through it. A couple things we have to handle. So we know the strength is going to be here, we know they're in a dot, and what's the movement that's going to happen? Well, one of the movements that can happen on this thing, they can flop that tight end over there, and when they flop him over here, this guy's got to bounce himself out, and they're going to give us a trade lift. Yeah. You just got to know your formations and exactly what the personnel groups, what kind of formations they can give you. So they can give you the trade look if they, in this case, it's a pro twin. Now, if they were to motion him over, the first thing he's going to motion, they snap the ball right here, it's in a nasty set. They motion him right up there, and they snap the ball, it's in the wing. Here's what's cool over here on the other side on the twin. As he starts to motion here, he's motioning toward the slot area. The key, though, is when they get inside. As soon as he comes from here, he now becomes 21 personnel. You got to consider him a back in the backfield. As soon as he enters over here, he's a back in the backfield. And when he's over there, that's a queen set. And when he's right over here, there's a king set. That's important to know that. So we've got a king and a queen. And as it starts to get over, what happens is that thing starts to shuffling over here. We got counter alerts. We got toss and power alerts. What happens when it's working over there? We got counter alerts coming over here. We got toss and power and happening. So if you know how movements come, you're going to know exactly how the flavors go as they start to work itself across the board. The next motion that can happen out of a pro thing is they motion that back out. It's an empty. They motion that back out. It's an empty. So what we've done is we get to get all that covered. The last thing I waited to the very end to do it is making sure that we have our options down. So right now, if we looked at this play, because of cover 4, he's the run fit. Because of the Sally do it, depending on the blocking scheme. But if they give us a do it, he might be the run fit. That might become because of do it. He might end up being on the toss right there. So the Sally concept gives you your run fit according to the blocking scheme of the receivers. So our option is handled. Now we know exactly where everything is going. We're ready for the ball to be snapped. If it's cover 0, because it's empty, we're in cover 4. And if it's over there, we're looking to see, does this guy come? And he's going to ride him high. If that guy leaves, he gets to play the rob inside because there's no threat. Same rule applies that over here. It's back into the 4-on-3 game. Cover 4, Mike high, we get to rob it. So there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. That's the way we skin 11 personnel here at TakeMe.com. Tax session with you. All right.